Welcome to a chipboard bookcase tutorial. I'm Shari Filamahala here at the Graphic 45 headquarters, and today I'm going to teach you how to create this whimsical and super cute home decor piece. This has been created for us this month by Annette Green. She's created the projects, the brag books, and the chipboard kit, so you know it's going to be good. And it's a cinch to create and put together, which we also love. So this month for our Club G45 Volume 7, we'll be using our Mother Goose Deluxe Collector's Edition. And there you get 24 double-sided sheets. You also get a chipboard sheet as well as 2 cardstock sticker sheets. You're gonna get this great Graphic 45 bag to hold all your goodies in. You're gonna get this exclusive to the club kit, chipboard kit, that will help you create not only the bookcase, but also the 3 brag books. You'll get a step-by-step colored project sheet with easy to follow directions, including dimensions, and you'll be getting these great Graphic 45 metal ornate corners. You get 8 different pieces in there, so enough to use not only on your bookcase, but also on your albums as well. And then we'll be throwing in some of our favorite Graphic 45 artist trading cards, our trading tags. You get 12 pieces in there. And so after you're done creating this bookcase, of course, you're going to want to follow our next tutorial on how to create these easy peasy mini albums as well that have some great fun interactive elements like these pockets where you can stuff those little tags in there. So we encourage you to hop on over to our website, g45papers.com, or head on over to your local G45 retailer to pick up one of these kits, and then grab your adhesive, and let's have fun creating this beautiful home decor piece. The first thing we want to do is grab our project sheet and our chipboard kit. For step 1, we are going to find these 6 pieces and adhere them onto one another to make our base of our bookcase extra sturdy. If you are looking for these pieces in your kit and you want to be sure that you've got the right ones, or you're going to try to create your own bookcase from scratch, the dimensions on the base, the square at the bottom, is going to be 5 3/16 by 5 inches. From this point to this point is 5 1/4, and from this corner to this corner is 6 15/16. If you go all the way from the top to the bottom, it's a total of 9 by 7/16, and then from the circle it is a 3 1/4 inch. And then this piece here is going to be 5 5/16 by 1 1/2. I'm gluing these together using some Aleene's super thick tacky glue. You could use any liquid adhesive of your choice. I would just suggest using a liquid, that way you can kind of slide it into place, making sure everything matches up perfectly. You can get a really good bond. Do the same with all of those pieces, matching them up on top of each other, and burnish out any air pockets. And when grabbing your side panels, you want to make sure that you're grabbing the larger 2 and not the smaller ones. So if you can see here, when I kind of put them all together, these ones are about 1/8 of an inch smaller than the largest ones. So for our step 2 and 3, we want to make sure we are using these 2. Next, we're going to take our Twinkle Twinkle Little Star paper, and on the back side we are going to trace our doubled up large back base piece, and then 2 of these little side curved pieces. We want these to be mirror images, so I just made sure that I laid it down, not flipping it, so it would fit on there perfectly. So I've laid these all 3 pieces out, and now I can go ahead and trace them. Sorry if you hear Spud, our Aussie Doodle, in the background. He's a little excited about all the noises in the hallway. Now we can go ahead and cut these out on the inside of our trace lines. However, there are a lot of straight lines going on here, so I'm just going to use my paper trimmer for those straight lines. It's going to do a much better job than I ever could. Just making sure I don't cut into one of my other tracings. So I have flipped this upside down, so I've got my big base plate here, and I'm just going to bring this along up here and then do something similar with one of our side pieces here. Now, taking my fine tip scissors, I'm just going to cut these pieces apart. And now we can really get in there and get the curves. Just slowly working my fine tip scissors around this circle up here and just on the inside of that trace line. And then now I'll do my two side pieces just the same way. Now that we've cut all three of those pieces out, we are going to trim off about 1/8 of an inch from the left and right hand side of our back base. So taking 1/8 of an inch from the right hand side, and I'll just flip this over. And 1/8 of an inch on the other side. For step 3, we're going to take spot on, and we'll do tracings and get mirrored images again, and then cut those out. And then we'll go ahead and adhere these two pieces onto those curved chipboard sides. And at this point, if you have any overlap or any imperfections, you can go in with your nail file or your sanding paper, and you can just smooth down any excess paper. Step 4, we're going to take this nursery rhymes paper and these side panels with the star cutouts, and then just take those chipboard stars and put them off to the side for now. And then we will trace the outside and cut these. So we'll end up with two plaid pieces like this. Next, add some liquid adhesive onto the chipboard piece. And then we're going to take that plaid and just adhere it right on top, covering up those stars. And then we'll flip it over and burnish. So next we're going to take a cutting board and a craft knife, and we are going to cut out those stars. And then we'll keep these papers for our chipboard stars to cover, but to show you how to do that, I'm just using my pen blade, but of course you can always use an X-Acto knife or whatever kind of craft knife blade you have. And we're just gonna go in there and cut these stars out in one piece. So just liking to find starting at a tip and go over that cut twice. Rotate my star, find the tip, and go to the center twice. And put your blade away safely, and then we can just pop out our star. So, like with any project, we can always smooth out any of those imperfections with a nail file, giving us a nice clean edge. And we can do the same with our little star cut here as well. So then you'll do the same for these two stars as well, and do it on both sides. So we finished up our side star panels, and now we're just adhering these star cuts to our chipboard pieces. So we're going to use these later on our brag books. So if you are not making those, you can skip this step, but maybe you'll want to put these cute little chipboard stars somewhere else on another project. But these do fit on here nicely. Once you smooth that out, you can always go over and sand anything down that needs sanding. And then we'll do the same with the medium stars and the small stars too. So now we are going to adhere our plaid star panels to our polka dot panels. And I'm still trying to use this Aleene's super thick tacky glue for things like this. And you know what? It just feels like it's just way too hard to try to squeeze that adhesive out of that bottle. I feel like I'm gonna get arthritis just trying to squeeze it out. So I'm just gonna use my art glitter glue, my trusty art glitter glue, and for this step, since it's not actually part of the construction. So I know a lot of people in the videos often have questions about what kind of glue we're using. And you know, I find what's very helpful is using newer glue. So I have some glossy accents that's a few years old that I just had to toss out and buy myself a new bottle of it. And you know, if this glue I think is, you know, it's super thick, so it's always difficult to get out of the bottle, but it is also, I think, probably a year old, and I don't use it too often, so I think that that is what is really creating the problem. So if you want some easy adhering, I would suggest maybe just buying a new glue every once in a while with your liquid to make sure it's flowing nice and easy. With my art glitter glue, I also have this nice little metal tip, and then it has a special pin that goes in it as well, which is really handy, which that all is by Art Glitter. So now we've taken our back panel again, and we've taken our second sheet of nursery rhymes, and we are going to be tracing on the side that has the wording and the pictures, because we want our plaid side out so it'll match our side panels. And then we also want to leave about 1/8 of an inch on the left, right, and bottom. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to place my chipboard so it has 1/8 of an inch around it on the left and bottom, and then now I can just trace and then trace. And now I'm going to, when I'm going to cut this out, I'm using my paper trimmer so I can have a nice straight edge. And then I'm also going to leave 1/8 of an inch on the right hand side as well. So you can see this line goes right on my trace line. So I'm just going to move it over 1/8 of an inch. And I will trim my piece. So now you can see I have 1/8 of an inch here as well. And then on my top, when I cut this out, I do want to go just inside my traced line. So this part is not 1/8 of an inch larger, just the sides and bottom. So just go inside my traced line and cut out this circular piece. So now that I have cut that out, you can see I've got a nice 1/8 of an inch on those 3 sides. So now I'm going to move that to the side, and now I'm going to start to adhere my bases together. So I've got my back panel flat on its back, and I have my rectangle, and I've put adhesive on one of the longer of the 2 edges. And here I'm just going to have my back panel laying flat, and I'm just going to hold this in a 45-degree angle, just flush against the bottom of my back panel. So I'm going to let that dry at a 45-degree angle. Now I'm going to take one of my side panels that we have done, and I'm going to put a bead of adhesive on all the way down this long edge, as well as the bottom. So this is just on our large flat surface, not the side area, but the large flat surface is where we want to add our adhesive. So once your adhesive is added like so, we can start to maneuver this into place. So we want this to be flush with the bottom and this side of our back piece. So once you get it in place, we're going to go ahead and let it dry here as well. And don't worry if it's not super sturdy, because we will be adding some structure strips on the inside. We do want it, to stay in one piece until we add those and add everything on there, but just so you know. So add your adhesive on your other side panel and do the same as our last step. Making sure the bottom is nice and flush, and the sides are as well. Step 9 from Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. We have cut this paper to be 5 3/16 by 4 7/8. And then we have another piece that's 5 3/8 by 1 1/2. Rather like this, 5 3/8 by 1 1/2. And then we've got 2 more pieces that are 1 inch by 7 inches, 2 that are 1 inch by 5 inch, and 1 that is 5 1/4 by 1 inch. I'm going to put these 2 pieces aside, and these 5 1-inch pieces, we have just scored a 1/2 inch down on the 1 inch side on all 5 of those. These are going to be our structure strips that will help keep our bookcase upright and nice and sturdy. So now I'm taking my 1 by 7 inch strips, and I'm just going to kind of lay them in this long area, and I can see that they're just about, I don't know, 1/8 of an inch too big. So I'm just going to trim off a little bit before I try to adhere these in. So and add your adhesive and adhere these in. Making sure that score line is nice and in the corner, and then burnish down and adjust your box, and then burnish with the side again that's on your table. And then adhere in those other 3 1 inch pieces. Now we're going to take this Twinkle Twinkle piece that we cut in step 2 and lay it into where we want it to go in our bookcase. And we can kind of see that it's a little too large just on the sides and the top. So I'm just going to trim it down about 1/16 of an inch on the bottom and sides. Now let's see how this fits in here now. So it's fitting a lot better, and I can just go ahead and pull this up where I need it to go and adhere inside. And I got a little carried away when I was trimming my star pieces and measured them to the side edge and not the top edge, because mine is not quite flush. And so you can see there is a little bit of craft hanging out there. It's not a big deal, but if you want to be a perfectionist and fix that up, you can just take a scrap piece like I've done here and cut this down to be 5 3/8, like so. And then I can adhere this just right flush to the top on the inside. So then we've adhered in our back piece, and now we are going to do our sides. But you gotta love these cute little stars, and it's looking so cute all coming together. Of course, we'd love to hear what you are going to store in your bookcase, or if you're going to be doing our brag books along with us, what you'll be putting in those brag books. I have an 8-year-old son who actually, when Mother Goose first came out, it was 8 years ago this summer, and so he was 6 months old when that first came out, and I have a lot of really cute mini albums from when he was a baby done up with this paper, which I love. But I am going to update those brag books with his new artwork. He is quite a prolific artist and is always making these, he calls them cards, his own trading cards. So I'm going to be putting some of his art, some of my favorite trading cards in my album, and then I will have lots of pictures of him creating his projects. So I will just also put the pictures of him doing all of his art pieces to make a really memorable set of brag books. But of course, we want to hear what you're going to put in yours, so in the comments, let us know. And then we are going to glue in our base rectangle that we cut a few steps ago. Step 13, we are going to take this rectangle from the beginning that we doubled up and our Twinkle Twinkle Little Star piece that we've got left over from step 9 and adhere this on there. And then with nursery rhyme, we will cut a piece that's the same. So it will be 5 3/8 by 1.5, and we'll adhere this on the other side. Now we're going to add adhesive to the back side of the blue stars, and this will adhere just right in the center of our bookcase. That'll be flush with the bottom. And mine doesn't quite go to the edges of the bookcase, which is just fine. But just make sure it's connecting, getting a good strong bond. And then taking these 4 small panels, you're going to go ahead and trace this Mother Goose signature page on the B side in a nice way where you can maximize and get all 4 of these cuts out of one sheet. So we've got one cut where the rounded point in the top is at the bottom left-hand edge. We've got our top point here in the top left-hand edge, and then flipping it over, we've got our point in the kind of in the center of our right-hand side, and over here on the bottom towards the center as well. So that way you can get 4 mirrored cuts. So of course you want to remember that we want the pieces to be mirror images like this, and we need 4 of them. Once you've cut those out, we're going to grab these 4 and adhere 2 together like so. Adhere your music paper on both sides. So this next step is optional, but I'm going to take some ivory white acrylic paint, and I'm going to do some painting on my edges as well as on my metal corners. So can just open up these bad boys and we can paint all of those to get ready for the albums as well. So of course you can leave this step out if you'd like, but I always think it's always fun to try something new and add a little extra detail to your projects. So I'm just taking that ivory white acrylic paint and painting my ornate metal pieces. See, I still have quite a bit on my paintbrush, so I'm gonna go keep working without reapplying. So I'm going to take some of this from that first thing I did, take off some of that paint and redistribute over here on these other corners. And I'm just using my Graphic 45 kit bag to do my painting on. Of course, you could use your craft mat or whatever you have laying around, your Decades ink, or no, sorry, your Deluxe Collector's Edition plastic bag. You could use that, but just kind of get these at all different viewpoints. All right, I think my metal embellishments are good to go. So now I'm going to take some paint and get the curved edges of these. So just kind of keep in mind what will be adhered and what won't be. So these are going to go inside my bookshelf. This flat back edge will be against the wall and adhere down, so I don't need to worry about that. The nice part about painting where we have doubled up our chipboard, and it does kind of hide that seam in the middle, which is nice, just adding that extra polished look and gives it a nice little classic shabby chic vintage feel. And then I'm going to go along the edges of my bookcase as well. And if you don't have any acrylic paint in your stash, you can always use some inks that you have, an ink pad, or some coordinating ink. I think, you know, a blue or a red or a white ink would be nice. Step 15. Before you add in your dividers, you'll want to do this part. However, I added in my dividers first, so it's going to be a little bit different than yours, but not to worry, I will show you what to do and yours will be easier. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to take this circle Mother Goose sticker, and she is just going to be right in the center of our back plate circle. So Annette so geniusly created this to fit perfectly there. And then this is where yours will be a little bit easier than mine. So this is where your step is going to be easier than mine because you haven't added in your dividers yet. But so with yours, you will just take that sticker and have it go across from left to right and trim to fit. However, since I already put in my dividers, mine will be a little bit different. So I have just laid in my checkered board sticker in my first section, and I'm just going to take a craft knife and slowly cut this apart. So now I will put it in my second section, just flush with the top of my dividers. But of course yours is just going to go straight across, making it easy breezy. And this, again, I will just trim to fit. So there you go. We've got our checkered board sticker and our Mother Goose. Next, we're going to take our adhesive and add it to the back straight line of our curved divider and the bottom, and then up about just about 1.5 inches, a little less than. And this is just going to slide right in to our bookcase, acting as a nice little divider. And then we're just going to want to situate it to get it nice and even. And we want to leave enough space that all 3 of our sections are going to be nice and even. So I'm just going to slide this over a little bit more. And now that we like our placement, I'm just going to take a damp paper towel and clean up any adhesive inside. And then we'll do the same with the other divider, just matching that placement. And once you like where it's at, you can just go ahead and push this down on the side and make sure that we're getting a nice good bond on all 3 edges. Step 16, we've taken this duo of border stickers, and this is just going to adhere onto our front of our bookcase like so. So then we are going to adhere these dimensional ornate corners onto our box or our bookcase. And just want to use a nice heavy duty liquid adhesive. E6000 is great for this. Glossy Accents is great. Whatever you've got that's great for metal is going to be nice to use for this step. And then we're going to take some little circle flower chipboard pieces that come in your DCE, and these are going to adhere just on the center here. So I've got the blue one, a red one, and another red one on the other side. So stinking cute. Step 18, we are going to be decorating our sides. So we are going to take this blue scalloped border sticker, and this is just going to be right flush to the bottom edge on both of our right and left hand sides. So just cut to fit, and I'm going to put the rest of this on my other side while I have it in my hand. Next, we're going to take some cute little chipboard tags. I've got the bedtime story and the Mother Goose. And of course, you just want to sand off any of those little connecting notches and pop out our little tag circle. And then I'm using just some waxed cord. This is 10 inches of ivory, but you could use any coordinating ribbon that's going to fit in here. Or you could just leave this step out altogether as well. So you do you. I just folded that in half and then put my my loop through and then tucked my tails through the loop. And tying a simple bow. I'm going to go ahead and trim these up a bit. So I'm going to put some adhesive over my cording so it stays in place as well. And this is just going to go beautifully between those two stars. And then flip this over to the other side and this blue Mother Goose one. Will go on the other side. So here is our complete DIY chipboard bookcase. It is so super cute with those star cutouts and all these extra details that Annette is known for. We hope that you've enjoyed creating these bookcases along with us, and we can't wait to see yours. So be sure to share them on Instagram using that graphic45 hashtag. And then go ahead and join us for this easy peasy brag book set tutorial. We'll teach you how to create these mini albums from scratch. They have fun interactive pockets in them. They're perfect for 4x6 photos. And they're easy to recreate. So it makes it the perfect gift that you could create for whatever occasion using whatever coordinating papers you've got at home. So you can find the link to this in the description below, and we hope that you join us there. So if you're looking for more great tutorials like this one, you can always subscribe to our YouTube channel and then hit that notification bell so you know every time we upload a genius tutorial like this one. We thank you so much for joining us, and as always, happy paper crafting.